Hello, everybody. Welcome to Leadership America, as we talk to the leaders in our world and the difference they continue to make. Brought to you by Air for Arts. Hello again, everybody. Welcome aboard. I'm Scott Murray. We welcome you to this edition of Leadership America, creating champions of change through a culture of civility, through courage, commitment, character, compassion, and not confrontation, but conversation about what we're to do with these two lovely ladies from Fort Worth. And I see the TCU. I knew we were going to be talking to you today, so I put some purple. Oh, gosh, here it is. Go Frogs. Oh, my gosh. That is Michelle Marlow, the ultimate frog, ladies and gentlemen, graduate of TCU. And with her is her sister-in-law. How about that? Cynthia Marlow. Cynthia went to UT and is now in grad school at SMU getting her PhD. So go figure. We've got UT. We've got TCU. We've got SMU down there. Both my kids are graduates of Baylor, so I mean we've got the entire
the Big 12.
Yeah,
Southwest
unbelievable.
Conference, love it.
Yeah, look out, Texas.
Yes.
So welcome. Thank you to you both for being here. These young ladies are speech pathologists. So we're talking about leadership on this program, and we've talked to some incredible CEOs and certainly some great just athletes that you all come to know. But I just Hall of Famers of the nth degree. But today we thought we'd switch it up a little and talk about some of the things that you deal with. And, of course, you and I, Michelle, know each other through Cook Children's Hospital. I was on the board a number of years at Cook Children's, one of the great children's hospitals in Fort Worth, and like Children's in Dallas, two of the greatest children's hospitals in the country. And we're so blessed to have them there. And yet I remember being involved with Cook Children's. It was just so special. And, of course, something that was created in the early 50s, 1953, if memory serves me right. By the wife of one of the greatest golfers of all time, Ben Hogan. Was it Valerie? Was that her name?
Valerie.
Valerie.
And
it was
Tatum.
Valerie.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Billy Clark.
Valerie Hogan. She and they created the Jewel Charity Ball. Yeah. And my gosh, over half a century later, here it is. So congratulations to you. Now you're the chair this year. Is that right?
I'm the chair.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations. And what does that require?
It requires a lot, Scott, because you sit on one of my committees. But it has been a true privilege, facing last year, all the unprecedented times that we had, and just to watch our community come together, even without a ball and the big parties, still the giving that we were able to give as a community and an organization was just amazing. And so we're just blessed to have just friends in a community that loves to serve and loves to give. And we thank you for being a part of that.
Oh, are you kidding me? I've been so involved with that. My wife was a member of the committee. I think she's what do they call it, a lifetime member or something now.
Yes.
And I emceed that a number of years. And of course, just as you said, involved this year on your committee. Thank you very much. And it's incredible what you continue to do. So for Jewel Charity, well done. Thank you. And of course, the kiddos at Cook Children's are the beneficiaries.
And sitting in the car just 5 minutes ago, I got a new angel right here, Scott.
Really?
Yes. She said, sign me up.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
well, fantastic.
There we go.
come be our angel.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I used to co-host this show with a young lady named Angel, so that kind of all fits into the Leadership America. Let's talk about what goes on here. When you say speech pathologist, who'd like to jump on board? And what is a speech pathologist? And now you're going off to get your doctorate in speech pathology. What is that that every day? I mean, what's your day like, day to day? What do you do?
Well, speech pathologists, we have lots of different roles, don't we? Our caseload is quite varied. We work with children that have a speech sound disorder, such as the inability to say an R or an S. We work with children that have language issues.
These are things that they're born with, is that right? For the most part?
Yes, they're developmental.
Okay.
So language issues as in struggling to follow directions and understanding questions and all the way down to grammatical issues. We also work with some severe children as well, and some children that are almost nonverbal, and children that have devices, all the way to adults that have had stroke and traumatic brain injury. So we do a lot of different stuff.
Stuttering is a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
We call it stuttering, but the real name is Disfluent Speech. That's a big hot topic right now.
And that was the whole idea when you and I talked, Michelle, about you coming on this show, and I was trying to see where it would fit that you could come in, because we're talking to people that have been very successful, whether it's in corporate America, whether it's in medicine, whether it's in sports, athletics, but as someone that is, as you both well know, went to college to become a pediatrician. I lost my best friend due to leukemia when we were both in second grade, 7 years old. First wake I ever went to. I thought, oh my gosh, and here's my buddy Frankie. What's going on? And so consequently, I always wanted to be a pediatrician. So I think that's my love of children. I thought, this might work because you're teaching these young people to be not necessarily leaders, but to be proud of who they are and what they're all about, and move forward in a positive, productive way. Because and I'm sure somebody that's a stutterer is picked on, is bullied in school, and how can they overcome that and be the leader that we all would like to be in our lifetime, and even in our own lives? How we can be a leader in our family, among friends, in our communities, and just in our world. Yes, no?
One of my favorite stories was probably 2 years ago. I supervise clinicians now. That's part of my role in my private practice. But one of my clinicians' clients was a stutterer, and he was going to A&M to play football. 2 years of speech therapy. We interviewed each other, just like we're sitting here today across the table. And that young man went on to play football at College Station, and he was interviewed. And he did beautifully. I mean, of course, stuttering is one of those disorders that's almost hard to overcome 100%, but there's so many strategies. But just to be able to help a child just like him to be in front of a microphone, so that he can speak and talk about all of his accolades as a football player.
I hear that story, Michelle. It makes me think, I was watching somebody on America's Got Talent, I think is what it was, and was a stutterer and had overcome, and it was amazing. Yeah. He got a standing ovation when he finished. But you were so proud of him. Yes. None of us knew him. Here's a guy that pops up on a television show, but you go, wow, good for you. You just felt like standing up and applauding yourself. Yeah. It was good stuff.
In fact, our next book that's coming out, SH for...
And I want you to talk about your books, please.
SH for Shiners coming out this fall, but we have another one coming out this spring that we're both very proud of, and it is on disfluent speech and stuttering. And the way that we usually treat a child with disfluent speech is on a hum or on a note, because it keeps anatomically their vocal folds open, and so we teach them to hum. And so it's all going to be centered around Van Cliburn and the middle C and the piano, and we teach children our little tricks in these books on how to overcome whatever speech impairment they may be having.
Very cool. And, of course, the great Van Cliburn, may he rest in peace, one of the most incredible gentlemen I ever met, lived in Fort Worth. So that's great, the connection there with the Jewel Charity and what have you. Is that why you continue to be involved in this profession, shall I say? Here you are going on to get your doctorate. The two of you really... It's amazing that you're both sister-in-laws. Is that how you came together? Is that how you met, or what?
So, I was at UT.
We call this TMI in my family. Too much information. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
So, I was at UT. I was accepted on a chemistry degree. I did not like chemistry, and Michelle said, come to work with me one day, and I did.
The rest is history,
And the rest is history. Yeah, absolutely. And then, she had this idea, let's write these books. Let's write these books together. We both love literacy as well as speech pathology, and let's do it. Let's combine the two together. So it's been a journey. Yeah. But yeah, I love it. That's kind of, why we do what we do, is to serve, is to work with these kids and have them overcome all the little things that are keeping them from potentially being the best that they could be.
Can you elaborate on the book or show us the book?
Oh, sure.
What do we have there, Michelle?
We'll just kind of share the very first one that we did.
Yeah, and both of you jump on board and tell us about each book.
The very first one was SH is the most delicious sound. And of course, it's centered around my favorite university, TCU, not those horns. However, I am kind of a horn now, thanks to George. But the venue is set at TCU at Frog Fountain. And little Sam cannot say his S sounds. And he comes across a magical super frog who teaches him our little tricks on how to say a good S sound. And it talks about our little trick, but it also talks about having confidence when you speak, because sometimes that S is going to come out okay, and sometimes it's not. But as long as you keep your chin up and your shoulders up and eye contact on the person that you're speaking with, it's all going to be okay. So it's a good story. It's not a book to take care of a speech problem. It is just our little tiny trick within our book that can hopefully
kind of a
help.
feel-good story.
Kind of a feel-good story. So this one's set at TCU. And then, Cynthia, do you want to go over the next one?
Yeah, sure. This one is about a little tiny town called Clifton, Texas. And this sweet girl is struggling with her CH, and she wants to win tickets to go to the state fair in Dallas. So she is working on the farm in Clifton and is collecting chicken eggs in order to sell to raise funds. So, yes, this is a lovely story. It's all about Clifton and the State Fair of Texas, which we love.
Yeah. And the funniest thing about this one is TCU, we're so thankful they have picked us up. They're now our publishing agency, and we do live readings, and especially during COVID, it's been very special for us. And we did it in front of our chicken coop, thinking that the chickens would be apart, and
we couldn't get them out of
that
the coop.
was funny.
Oh, you're kidding.
That was funny. So,
oh, that's great.
Yeah, tune into TCU Worldwide if you'd like to do a virtual reading with our chickens, the ladies. But the other one that we did is R is the Roughest Sound, and this one's very special to us as well because it's centered around the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. And our dear friend, Jennifer Williamson, we got permission from Dickies to have pretty much the first publication of the arena on the front of our book. And so you'll see pictures in here that will remind you, if you've been to Will Rogers, of the Coliseum, and it's just about Reagan, who can't say her R's, and then a little red robin teaches Reagan the little trick on how to say a good R sound. And do you think she wins the blue medal or the blue ribbon at the end? You'll have to read to find out.
Right. You know, things we take so much for granted, an R sound or something like that.
Yeah.
And yet that's why these children, and that's why, again, why we had you come on the show today, even though it's a little different than normally what we do, is to just show that these kiddos are champions in their own right.
Absolutely.
They really are, just by what
Absolutely.
they continue to try and overcome in their life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to be the norm, like we take things so much for granted.
Yes.
And this one's real special, Scott, because it's centered around our Cook Children's Hospital.
Yep.
Ella's for lemonade.
Yes, it's Lulu. And so Luke is struggling to say his L sound. He's selling lemonade to raise money for the annual Colonial Golf Tournament. And so this one's really great. And it talks all about Luke and Lulu, and you have to read it to find out the end.
Very cool. And those lemonade stands, I can see them in front of Colonial as you go up to the, you check in to the clubhouse. You go, oh my gosh, look at the kiddos selling the lemonade and doing all.
That's raised a lot of money.
Oh, it's such a part of the tournament. It really is.
So you can see that these books have a good story. They have a little trick, but they're also very special for us locally because they all have a special meaning. And this one that's coming out in September is extra special to me because this is where I was born and raised, Shiner, Texas. I hope you've had a Shiner Bach.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Just taste it. Just taste it.
Yeah. It could be. It could be. But this one is about my dad is a veterinarian in our tiny small town of Shiner, Texas, and Shelly goes home for spring break. She can't say her SH sounds, and a very special animal teaches her how to say the S sound, and it's just very special because my dad's in this one, so I love it.
That's very cool.
We call him Pop.
Congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
That's quite an array of literature and literature that makes a difference in the life of a child, and it simply doesn't get any better than that.
Thank you, Scott.
So
Thank you.
Thanks for all you're doing. Other things that you get a chance to be a part of, you talk about just all that we have to deal with in our world today and how it's changed with the pandemic and just all that's it's going on. It's a different place than it was a couple of years ago. I just wondered, has it affected all the things that you deal with these children at all, or just some of the things you have to share? Just the mental wellness that some of these kids have to endure. You hear, oh gosh, we did a program not so long ago just about how automobile accidents used to be the number one killer of teenagers and what have you, and young adults into their early 20s. And now it's suicide because of all that we're enduring in this world now and in our country. And you say, oh my gosh, no, this can't be right. How about for some of the things that you do with in speech pathology, and I don't know if there's any crossover to some of those things at all. And just
Yeah, you go
just
for it.
I always used to tell my kids, be yourself, respect yourself, believe in yourself.
Right.
And there's so many people today, they don't, because of all the adversity that we have going on.
Well, my eyes were really opened during COVID because we did all of our speech therapy virtually. And so first it was a big challenge to get these children, especially when you work in the public school systems, because you don't have the laptops, you don't have the internet system that's required for all of that. So we were very thankful whenever we were able to make a connection with our children. But it took me to my knees a couple of times when I saw how some of our children live. In fact, one of my clients lived up against a metal garage door of his grandmother's house.
Oh, you're kidding.
And it will break you. And so you don't realize how important our public schools are to these children, because when they come to school, they're in air conditioning and heat, and they have food, and they have teachers. And what I learned from that is sometimes, you know what? R is not really what we need to focus on. What they really need is a hug and you are great, and you are going to be something great, and everything is going to be okay. That was a real eye-opening experience for me during COVID. And talking about mental well-being. I mean, all of that leads to, so I'm sure you have stories too, Cynthia.
Well, the confidence level that they have to endure to go through every one of those kiddos that you talked about as an example here. They've got to believe in themselves. They got to be confident, and
yes.
With all that we've had to endure, it's not always there.
Absolutely, and during COVID, it was really hard. For a child that does have that opportunity to sit in front of a computer screen and work, that's great. But some of the children that we work with, they have disorders, disabilities, where just sitting in a chair and trying to look at a screen is
that's a challenge,
impossible.
And being masked up.
Yes.
You have to show your lips. You have to be able to talk and maneuver, articulate.
I never thought of that. That's a great point. That's a great point.
But there was one positive that I saw that came out of it, and that is that the parents got to sit there in speech therapy with their children in their laps and got to listen to how we speak to them, the questions that we ask, what we require of them. So it was a really good a teaching opportunity for these parents to not only just sit down with a book and really read the book, but know how to ask those who, what, when, where, and why questions. They're so important. They're so important.
Yeah, that collaboration with parents, definitely something that's a positive that's come out of COVID, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, what are some of the other things that I might not be aware of that you get a chance to be a part? I don't know what you would like to share about Jewel Charity. Certainly now is an opportunity. But more importantly, some of the other things that even the kiddos at Cook Children's and all these kids wanting to be champions in their life.
Yes.
I just wondered some of the other things that kiddos have to overcome, and how being involved as you are day to day with speech pathology and all that that you are involved with. Anything else come to mind that I might not be aware of? Some of the things that you do day to day to make a difference in these young people, so that, and is it just young people that or do you work with adults as well?
I used to work with adults a lot, actually. Parkinson's. I've been trained with Parkinson's.
Well, that's why I asked that.
And
some
I
of the things
that.
that come
really
along later in life.
And I have 4 boys, and so I had to give up a little bit of my private practice. So I focus mostly on children, but I do miss the adults. I really am fascinated by I guess the older I get,
well,
the more I need to know.
Let me ask you this, and if there's anything else you'd like to share with us, please jump on board. But let me ask you this as we kind of head down the home stretch here. What is it that you find most rewarding? I often ask people that have been involved with something for a long time, what would you like your legacy to be? How would you like people to remember all that you have done and all that you have shared? So either the legacy, but maybe you're still so involved in it now. How can we, as the general public, help you with all the incredible things that you do, in particular for our young people? What are some of the things that you're proudest of, that you get to be a part of every day, and that we as a public could help out and be involved to help you with what you do? What comes to mind?
Do you want to go first?
I can go for it if you like.
Go for it, yeah.
Okay, so my legacy. Wow, that's a big question.
The show's almost over, so
right. I think every single day when one of my students leaves my room and I see a smile on their face and I know that they've succeeded, no matter how small it is, that is what I want. That's what I want to remember. That's what I want parents to see.
Good for
and
you.
People to understand. It's not about these gigantic steps, and the parents get stressed because they're not seeing the progress that they want fast enough. It's the baby steps with everything. And I think the most important thing for me is that inside fulfillment of the child, where they're like, you know what, I did something good today. I did something that I couldn't do yesterday or this morning or before lunch or whatever it is. That's why we do what we do, is because we love kids. And we want them to be successful. We want them to be successful members of society. Flourishing society is a great society. So that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, and when they do something that they're proud of, that they just did, look what I've just accomplished.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate, is it? I can
Exactly.
totally understand that. How about you, Michelle?
That is a big question. What is your legacy? I think I've already hit my legacy, because with our first book, when the 4 Marlow boys saw me on Amazon.com, they were like, "Mom!" So that was really, honestly,
Mom's big time.
that was
Ooh.
big to be on Amazon.com. So really, I guess this was a true treat and a true dream. But how the community can help us going forward. The year before COVID, I added it up. I read to 1,800 children in 1 year. And that was just friends asking me to come around to different preschools, different schools. I drove everywhere, and I would take a jar of purple Hershey Kisses and my little book, and I would bring one child up to be my partner to hold my little horn frog, and we read together. And like you said, if I could just touch one child in that one reading, that's all that I need. And just to know too that my boys are somewhat proud of me. I mean, I guess
They're very proud of
I
you.
love that. I love that. But I'm also tired. I'm older, and so I'm very thankful that Cynthia's young and energetic, and can take over something that we've started eventually, because I think there is a real need for this. And thank you, Scott, for sharing the message, because a lot of parents don't know where to go, who to
Yes.
turn to. And if you need anything, you can contact us, and we can guide you on how to get help or answer any questions. Or if you just want us to come read, we'd love to come read to your schools.
Well, let me publicly say to both of you, thanks for all you do for children and older adults. But as speech pathologists, I can't thank you enough. It's obvious that you're difference makers of the nth degree. So
do.
that's nice. Anything I can ever do, anything for you, and certainly with young people, with children, which, as I said at the beginning, wanting to be a pediatrician, that's been with me. I kind of switched vocation and avocation, but anything we can do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Cynthia Marlow and Michelle Marlow, and they are speech pathologists, and obviously making a difference in our world over at Cook Children's and Jewel Charity and a countless number of other things. So thanks to you both. So until next time, for Leadership America, remember, creating champions of change through a culture of civility. Be kind, courteous, and respectful to one another, and our world will be a much better place for us all. Till next time, I'm Scott Murray. Be strong, stay safe.